Hey everyone, James Marin here, and in this video, I want to do something that's a little bit different. Instead of just talking about camera operating on this channel, I want to make sure that I talk about other film topics so that I continue to create content that is helpful to a wide variety of people who check this channel out. So I'm starting a new series on this channel called Crew Talk so I can invite guests to talk about what they specialize in. So this is the very first episode of the new series, and today's guest is my friend Mike Reyes. Mike is an amazing cinematographer, and he shares his thoughts today on what makes a production successful, the importance of having a consistent crew, and why building relationships are important to him. So without further ado, please enjoy this conversation with cinematographer Mike Reyes.
And I'll just do some editing magic to the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember, but the whole idea behind the video was that I wanted to get 5 different DPs to answer the same 5 questions, because I figured everyone has a different perspective. Everyone has like different set of experiences and things that they prefer and whatever. So I wanted to kind of see the variety of answers that I get for the same questions. And so the first question that I have for you, Mike, is what makes a successful production?
What makes a successful production? I feel like if everybody, it all starts from, what the concept is. Are we talking about like a general production? Or are we talking about like a commercial or?
Just like in general, like when you go home at the end of the day and you're like, that was really good. Like I felt like I wasn't able to do my best work, and that at the end of the day, you feel confident that you have something that is going to be something that like you want to share with people,
Right.
What do you think are the factors that allow that to happen?
I feel like it all boils down to the concept. If you're the concept of the video, the commercial, the film, whatever is like top tier and everyone's on board and everyone's stoked for it, and you're enabled to push yourself and do things that, maybe push yourself outside of your own comfort zone. I feel like that's always the most rewarding for me in terms of coming home and going like, wow, yeah, we did something really cool today. But then also at the same time, like success is so different for everyone. Like for me, if everyone's happy and the directors are happy, the producers are happy, my crew is well taken care of, and we don't get peeled, that's a success.
Totally.
But also at the same time, if we have a really cool concept, but we get destroyed and then like we're dead at the end of the day, but at least we know we walked away with something cool, I also think that's a success. Totally. But if it's a cool concept and we're getting disrespected by production and we're getting whacked at every like turn, then no, like I don't see that as success. Like I don't care how cool the concept is, I'm not willing to drag my people through the dirt like that.
Yeah, no, then that's good. It almost sounds like, again, it boils down to the concept and just how good that is. So would you say that it's almost like, maybe not a requirement, but like you just have to be excited about what you're being told the shoot is?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you're not stoked for what you're shooting, then it's like so apparent. Everyone can read you.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you've been with me when I'm like not super stoked, and
I don't think so, actually, to be honest. I think like everything that we've done so far, luckily, I've only done Steadicam for you. So I haven't been on, like all the other shoots that you do, but the ones that we've done have definitely been a lot of fun, and like it has all the elements of something that's exciting. Like all the Apex stuff that we've done has like been super rad. The wine commercial that we did, although there was like challenges and stuff like that, I thought that it ended up being cool, and it was like, again, like a fun day. Like you're saying, you define success at like that, like if at the end of the day everyone feels pretty good about things. Even though I was tired and stuff, that's kind of part of the job. But I thought it was cool, and pretty much everything that we've done has been I've been super proud of.
That's true. I only get you on the cool stuff. I should bring you on the really stupid stuff so that you
Maybe
can
on
know.
some bad stuff, on some humbling things, you know. So yeah, cool, man. Let's see. The question number 2. What bad advice do you hear being given to others in regards to cinematography or the film industry?
Bad advice?
Yeah, bad advice.
Man, bad advice. Fuck. I feel like all of it's so relative. I hear a lot more bad advice than good advice, probably. Where
Sure.
like, I, well, I don't even know if it's bad advice per se, because it's all, some things work for some other people.
Mm-hmm.
I had a buddy of mine who told me to like max out all my credit cards and buy a camera.
Uh-huh.
But to me, that sounded like a terrible idea. But for him, worked splendidly. He
Oh
shot
yeah.
so many great things on it.
Uh-huh.
But then, like, I wouldn't probably say that to a starting out cinematographer for sure. Like,
Uh-huh.
owning a camera doesn't really do anything if you're starting out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
people will take advantage of you. Um, I think I think the number one bad advice that I hear most is, you know, the grind. Like some
Mm-hmm.
people are so about the grind, like, oh, I'm not gonna sleep. And this is like a thing that I had to deal with when I at Art Center in Pasadena, is like that was in the DNA and the culture of the college, where we were pulling all-nighters all the time. And they're like, you're not learning unless you're on the floor, like snoozing in between like ideation, and you have to push yourself to the limit, and you have to have
Yeah.
run on fumes. I really don't think that's necessary in our industry. I think some people maybe thrive on that, but
Mm-hmm.
personally, if I give my entire self to film and have no room for, my relationships, my family, and some other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
then like, what the fuck is the point? You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
totally.
At the end of the day, it's a job, and I love my job. You love your job. Like
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
of us that work together, we all love
Yeah.
our jobs, but it's still a job. So, just grinding yourself all the way to like bare metal is just the worst thing I've ever heard. I don't think
Totally.
anybody should do that or strive for that.
Yeah. Yeah. How come you think it's like so romanticized?
I don't know. It's just like I think maybe it's a sign of the times. Maybe people in our generation, people in our age, are like, we're all hustlers. We're always trying to figure out what the next thing is, and never striving, like always striving for something better.
Mm-hmm.
And in our industry, it very much is like a fake it till you make it sort of deal for some people. And for like, I mean, honestly, for all of us, really, you're always pretending like you're a tier above where you're sitting,
Yeah,
just so that you could climb your way up.
totally.
But I don't know. I think people want to accelerate their growth, and they
Yeah.
think to do that, you have to just throw yourself at it and live, breathe, just like think, film all the time. But how are you going to be like a functioning human if you don't
Yeah.
allocate time for yourself?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I feel like uh, going back to the whole like romanticized thing of like, oh, they hustle like every day, and like
Yeah,
it's also, it seems perpetuated by social media of like having to post that like, oh, I'm working today, everyone, like what. I mean, and we all like I mean, including myself, I participate in that. It's like, take a photo of the rig, put it up. Like now people know that like I'm an actual working operator, and you could
yeah,
hire me and stuff. But yeah, it seems dangerous because, like you're saying, you don't have time for anything else in your life, and what you guys do as cinematographers is an art. And if you don't have like a life to live that inspires you to then do your art, I don't know. It just kind of seems a little ass backwards, I guess.
yeah, exactly. Like imagine, I mean, it also like different strokes for different folks, right? Like
Totally.
I have some friends who have completely just like dive straight in to film and
Hmm.
shut everything else out in their life, and they are rock stars.
Yeah.
They're amazing. But I prioritize like my relationships, my family, my hobbies, my free time.
Some balance.
Maybe, yeah, balance. Maybe that's not conducive to being like a rock star DP, but that's how I keep myself happy and do this at the same time.
Well, that's good. Yeah, your happiness is definitely important.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than a camera or lenses, is there any piece of gear or something else that you either keep requesting or you feel like you absolutely need?
Other than cameras and lenses,
Mm-hmm.
does it have to be gear?
No, it could be anything.
Could be anything. Um, I always ask for the same crew.
Okay.
Always. That's always my thing, because like we joke that, and you've heard us joke about it, like we're like a traveling circus where we'll
Totally.
like sometimes we'll like go from one job to another, and we're all the same, and some people are switching in and out, but typically the keys are the same.
Yeah.
And I do that because I don't like reinventing the wheel. I like to. We have our workflow. Everyone knows what we like, what we dislike, how to speak to each other.
Totally.
And specifically on like commercials that I'm working on all the time, it's kind of hard to just figure each other out within the 1 hour that we get to like start to get everything, the cameras up and lights up at the beginning of the day. You have to use that hour to like remember everyone and figure out how to communicate with everybody. But when we work with each other all the same time, like when we have the same crew all the time, we don't have to waste time trying to figure each other out because we know each other super well, and things just like happen way faster, I think.
Okay. And so you feel like that translates into the final product in a way?
Absolutely. Like for instance, Cote is like my first AC, and I request him on everything, and whenever he's on, I never have to worry about camera or anything. It's like, not to say that I worry about camera with any other ACs, but it's just with him and I, we're close friends. Like we like work together constantly. So it's something that I don't even think about. It's like if I say I'm going to do something, he's already there doing it. And sometimes if I'm working with someone on a travel job, they can do that too, but it's a different, they arrive there in a different way, and I have to get used to it.
Interesting. Okay. Do you feel like there's ever a time that like the director feels some type of way because he's not as close to you or the rest of the crew or something? Like he just doesn't have that same rapport. Like he's the only one stepping in, and he's like, "Oh, I'm like the new guy, even though I'm the director."
I try my best, and I think my crew tries their best to like include the director into the fun, into the camp. But it's kind of hard. I mean, I'm trying, like, I hope that it's not cliquey on my sets. I hope that we don't like shut everybody out. It's like, oh, this is the cool kids club. But like,
for sure,
we do have our inside jokes, and maybe sometimes the directors feel a little bit like, ooh, I'm stepping into something that's already existing. I feel like an outsider, but I try my best to not do that.
Sure.
Try to like include everybody.
Either way, I mean, I'm sure they're happy at the end of the day because they get exactly what they wanted and in the time allotted and all that stuff, and within the logistics and everything. So either way, I'm sure they're happy at the end of the day.
I hope so. Yeah. If like, and if they're focused too much on like, oh man, why are these guys like not talking to me? Then maybe it's a boring shoot.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe the concept isn't that good or whatever. So, no, that you make a good point, because really they should be focused on like what they're getting and not on like the social aspect of the thing.
Yeah, directors have so much on their plate; they'll never realize that. Sometimes they don't even know who I am. They're just so busy.
Okay. What is something one could do to add production value to their work that is often ignored?
Production value to the work that's often ignored. That's a hard one, dude. That is so hard.
I got all the
There's
loaded
so many.
questions for you, Mike.
You motherfucker. Production value. Oh, okay. This one's easy. You're gonna like this one.
Cool.
The way they can add production value to the work that's overlooked 9 times out of 10 is that they need to hire a Steadicam operator.
No, you're
Yeah, that's it. That's
So
it.
you
Because
really feel
I'll
that
tell
way?
you, I literally feel this way because my buddy Rob and I, we did that dialed thing with the Porsche 911 and stuff, and we intercut with the car and then intercut with like inserts and like narrative stuff. But when we were looking at the edit, we were like, fuck, we really needed like push-ins and stuff. And we needed movement. And every time you can move the camera, I would move the camera 9 times out of 10.
Interesting.
Like,
even if it's like not like motivated in a way, or like obviously motivated, or you would just move the camera whenever.
I just fucking move the damn thing because it always feels good when you when the camera is slightly moving, and you know, obviously, you know, there's a time for dolly and Steadicam, but when I'm able to just move the camera in any which way without setting tracks, it's so liberating. You're just like, ooh, yeah, just like push left and then go in a little bit. Oh, it adds so much production value because anytime I'm on a job where it's just sticks and locked off shots, I look at it and I'm like, this not me. This is not me. Like, watch any of Dan Mindle's stuff. It's always fucking moving. And obviously he has like the techno cranes and the dollies and like, but that's something that is consistent with his work, is that it's always moving. So
interesting.
Okay, maybe not like always get a Steadicam up, but move the camera. It's gonna feel good, and shoot anamorphic.
There you go. Move the camera and shoot anamorphic. I mean, I think those are 2 very good tips. But to go back to your piece dialed, I mean, in my opinion, that has production value like up the wazoo because, I mean, it's a car commercial, you know, or a watch commercial, but with a big element of movement and cars and speed to it. But I guess I could see how you would want to keep the camera moving in a piece like that because there's so much energy in the car stuff that when you like get to the other stuff, maybe it just didn't feel right to you or something.
Exactly. Like, you know, if you're cutting from like an insane Russian arm shot where like you're like just specifically like shaking the camera, and then you cut to, even if it's like a handheld shot of like some guy just like sitting in a chair, like that, to me, the velocity of the shot just goes like skirt, and instead of carrying through. And you know, sometimes you need that, but when we looked back on it, we're like, yeah, the next one we're gonna definitely get Steadicam in there and just go buck wild because static wasn't the move.
I see. Yeah, maybe it's jarring to go from like really fast movement or something really dynamic to something like super solid and planted down, unless like that's the intention.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. And that's you know, you have to plan your shots too. For us, we kind of went crazy and we were just like, just get everything, which was fun.
Is there ever a time like when, I mean, I know pre-production is huge and just like shot listing is super important and doing previs whenever you can. But is there ever a time that you just kind of go in sort of blind and just shoot it?
Yeah, I think so. I think most of the work that I shoot, we're just freestyling.
Okay.
I mean, on the Apex Legends things, those are heavily boarded.
Yeah.
And they have like the animatics and stuff, but even then, like we freestyle that. Like we rarely shoot what the animatic is. Like Dave and Leisha will come up to you and me and be like, "Oh, this is the animatic," and show us the basic blocking, and then either myself or you will like figure out, nah, let's do it this way. And more often than not, they're down. And the Coens actually do this, where they like board out all their movies, and they just wing it afterwards. Like they don't look at them anymore. But they board it out, board it all out, but make room for just like thinking on the go.
Yeah, no, I think that's cool. I wish more stuff was sort of like that, like just storyboarded to the point where like you could stick to it, and this is the plan if we run out of time and imagination. But this is just the building blocks, and then we can kind of do whatever if we see like the blocking is naturally evolving in the scene or something.
Totally.
I really like that. What is the best or most worthwhile investment you've made? Could be an investment of gear, time, or energy.
I think the best investment I've made is in the people that I work with, and like the directors, the ACs, the Steadicam ops, like the crew. Yeah. If you spend time with them and expect everyone to grow, and for yourself to grow with them, like not only good things can come of it. Specifically the relationships with the directors. That's an investment, because more often than not, like, when you're starting out, you're not going to get plucked out by like an A-list director. It just like, it rarely happens. But if you find people that you like to work with, or that have a similar eye to you or similar vision in terms of filmmaking, and you harvest that relationship and you invest your time and energy into it, it normally is just like an amazing thing. Like, you start working with your friends, and it's awesome.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. I mean, it definitely feels that way every time that we work. I mean, just everyone that you bring on, it's like you said, it's the same people like almost every single time. And if it's not certain keys, then it's like you have somebody else that steps in that everyone has worked with a handful of times as well, and it just the rapport that everybody has makes it so much easier to work on whatever the project is, whether the concept is like the most badass thing ever or like an interview. It's still just as fun, and I think that's cool about how you work and what you value as being important in your career. How do you like go about making that investment when it comes to directors?
It's getting harder and harder, specifically now in the era of COVID. I used to reach out to a lot of directors who I saw were up and coming, same as me, and we would get together, have coffee, talk about stuff. Doesn't have to be film; it could be other interests. Like a director I work with a lot, Nick Lamb. He and I, like, we bonded over cars because he's like a car freak, and then we started working together.
Cool.
Stuff like that. It's like I liked to reach out and make friends with these people, but now it's so hard because like, what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna DM them, be like, "Hey, I love your work. Let's hop on Zoom." No, I'm not gonna hop on Zoom. Like, it's super weird. Exactly. I'd rather be in person and have a coffee, have lunch. I don't know.
Totally. Have you been sort of like holding off on maybe touching base with certain people or like reaching out to new people because you're not going to have that ability to meet in person?
Kind of yes and no. I still kind of ping a few people and just be like, "Hey, I've been watching your work for a while. Would really love to work with you." But at the same time, we're there's not a lot of work to go around. So if they have an existing relationship with the DP, I kind of just like, everyone's got to feed their people, and everyone's got to go back to their day ones. So, I'm not saying that I'm not reaching out, but it's definitely less than before.
Yeah. What was like some of the, you just go out for coffee, or like did you have a particular strategy that you went about? Was it like you'd email you'd find someone's website, you really like their work, and then you email them, or like what was sort of your strategy behind that?
I don't know. Like I feel like it's been very organic most of the time, where I'll stumble across their work
Mm-hmm.
and I'll shoot them an email or I'll hit them up on Instagram. But there's no real strategy because I personally feel like uh, I just want to be like a regular human to these people.
Yeah.
It feels very odd if like there's a strategy for me to hit up these different people, and I just want it to be as organic as possible because that's what friendships are. They're organic. You can't
Totally.
force a friendship. You can't force a working relationship.
Yeah.
You could do your research. You could figure out, oh my God, these are all the people that I would love to work with, and you could hit some people up from that. But if it becomes like a strategy,
Mm-hmm.
you might get lost in the strategy and forget that, oh wait, I'm supposed to be a regular human to these people.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point, man. That's a good point. Because I guess like at the end of the day, um, I mean, you'd hope that you just want to be friends with the person that you're working with or the people that you're working with. And so you make a
Yeah,
good point. It's like you can't really strategize how to put together a friendship.
exactly. And most of the relationships I have with directors, it's like we're cool and like we like each other's company, but maybe sometimes like we're not the type that would be like, hey, let's like hang out this weekend or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But each relationship is super different. Like you don't have to be best buds with everyone,
That's true.
but you just have to be friendly.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I really appreciate your time, man. It was great talking to you about all these things, and yeah, I'm just glad that you made the time for me, and again, I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Crew Talk, and I hope that you learned something from this discussion and that you're able to put that into your next project. Also, feel free to let me know if you liked today's episode and if there's anything that I could do to add to this type of content to make it either more enjoyable or more informational for you in the future. That's it for now. Thanks for watching and for listening, and I hope you have a great day.